really great job by our guys being able to find a way. I thought came to life at the most important moments. Really felt like the turning point in the game was John Johnson's interception. And we've talked about playing complementary ball. I think that's been on display, especially the last 2 weeks. But what a huge play that was. I thought Matthew made play after play against an unbelievable defense. Puka Nacua obviously made his presence felt really early in the game, ended up battling back, made a lot of plays with his legs, as a runner too. One that ends up getting called back that would have been a huge play for us. Cooper Kupp makes a huge play. Kyron Williams made his plays. I thought DeMarcus Robinson had 4 huge catches for us. It was good to be able to see him do his thing. Offensive line. And then defensively, I just love the way that we battled. We got off the grass on 3rd down. We weathered the storm after they ended up scoring early on. Obviously, Joe's a great quarterback. They did a lot of really good things, but we came to life in the most important moments, and I was really pleased with the the overall effort for our team, and what a great challenge we've got next week. I'm not sure. It was his shoulder and his rib. I mean, what an unbelievable catch he makes on the sideline. I thought he was dead, and then he comes back to life. But he is a tough, I don't know, can I say that anymore? I don't know what I can say. But he is such a tough competitor. The way that he battles through things, the physicality at which he plays this game, he brings an energy to our team that I think you guys can all feel when you watch. It's why he's so fun as a competitor, whether he's got the ball or whether he doesn't have the ball. And I think Kyron Williams has continued to demonstrate how important he is to our offense. He had some really hard, tough earned yards, tough runs to be able to close out that game at the end. And, a lot of guys that deserve a lot of credit. And, hey, let's keep taking steps.
Sean, to that point, when you see a guy walk off that slowly, you usually don't see him come back and have that type of a second half. Did you know he was 100?
I didn't. I just know that, you got to be able to kind of move on. You hope that he's going to be okay. And then when Reggie Scott tells me, hey, he's going to try to give it a go, nothing surprises me with him anymore. Congratulations to him as well, setting the rookie, franchise record for receiving. He's done a great job, and the best thing about him is he's going to just continue to get better, continue to be coachable and accountable, and only going to take steps in this type of direction, and we love him.
Sean, back in training camp this summer, after some of those tougher days, you said you wanted to see this group build toughness, especially the younger players on the roster. Did you see that come forth today and in the previous 3 weeks?
I did, Jordan, and I think really it has been on display throughout the course of the season. We maybe just haven't always gotten the results that we wanted, but I'm seeing a mentally and physically tough team. I'm seeing guys stay connected. I'm seeing guys create their own energy. They create an energy that makes it so fun to be able to go to work and continue to push in the right direction. I'm seeing great leadership from a lot of our veterans. And now we've got to just keep it going. It's a long season. It's been a really good start coming off of the bye to be able to go 3 for 3. We're going to be just in the moment, one day at a time, and if we continue to play this way, then you continue to have conversations where you're relevant to maybe earn an opportunity to play afterwards, but that's so far away from our thought process. I'm really just, loving working with this group.
Even so, Sean, you know what December football is.
Yeah.
You've been there. What did this tell you about December football with the mindset of this club? Talk about the toughness of it.
I think what they've shown, Steve, is that they can, really be able to, gather themselves after the bye and continue to really get better. I think the best teams get better, and I've seen that each of the last 3 weeks, and I've seen us play as a team. I've seen us be able to complement each other offensively, defensively. We got to do some better stuff in the kicking game. That's something that we have to be able to improve upon, and I'm confident that we will. I know we've got the right guys leading it with Chase and with Spring. But I'm really pleased with that today, Steve. And it continues to mean that if you do a good job in these types of games, playing meaningful December football is really, what you want. And certainly our guys are putting themselves in a position to do that.
You mentioned that the John Johnson third interception was the turning point in the game. What did you see from the defense before that and then after that?
I thought they did a really good job overall. Like I mentioned, just kind of weathering the storm after the first drive, but I thought our run defense, I thought, we did a good job being able to get off the field on 3rd downs. Seemed like our coverage was really sticky. And then I thought we did a pretty good job of rushing with integrity. And they made some plays. You give them credit. But I thought that play that JJ made was huge. John Johnson the third right there, as you would say. But he's been such a big bright spot for us. He's got such great command, such great communication. He and Jordan over the last couple weeks have done a great job manning the safety positions. And then for him to make that play against his old team, be able to make a great return, to be able to already put us what it would be in scoring position, then for us to be able to cap that off. I did think that was the play of the game, and I thought that was where the turning point came into play.
And then you also spoke a lot about Puka, but when he came back in the game, he immediately started blocking. What does that say about his
He's a grown man, for a rookie, the way he plays this game. Even when you look at the way that we were operating, where it's pretty obvious the run concept that we're running, the type of play, where the point of attack is, and he was right there and did a great job against, as good a defense as there is in this league. And I thought our guys really answered the bell. We got tremendous respect for this league, knowing that every single week there's so many different challenges that you have to navigate through. But I'm really loving working with this group. Puka definitely embodies a lot of the things that are right about this team.
Sean, after the bye, you talked about wanting to make sure that you're staying aggressive, keeping your foot on the gas. The late sequence there, punching in the touchdown underneath the 2-minute, going for the touchdown versus the field goal.
There's a lot of debate right there. Really, you got so much respect for some of the guys that can potentially block a field goal. Had a couple things that didn't go the way that we wanted and what we feel like was, high percentage situations. And so I would be willing to bet you that a lot of people would say just run it down to 30 seconds, kick the field goal to go up 11, and then, don't even give them any time to potentially have what Flacco did against, the Browns, a year ago. So it was some debate, but I think out of respect for their field goal block operation, we said, let's make sure we have great ball security, but if we can punch it in, Kyron's on my fantasy team. It's a joke. It's a joke. I don't really mean that. All right, kidding.
Just a couple more, yeah. It feels like there's something special.
That's the last one.
It feels like there's something special with the veterans from Aaron Donald to the rookies from Kobe Turner. First game of the season, they had those back-to-back sacks. Tonight it materialized in that safety. What are you seeing out of those two specifically, and just the age difference and the wisdom one is able to pass down to another?
I think, Kobe's a really, inquisitive guy. He's mature beyond his years. I think a lot of these rookies, whether you talk about Puka, whether you talk about Kobe Turner, Byron Young, Steve Avila, a lot of these guys are really mature beyond their years, and they're doing a great job of accelerating their progress. But when you've got guys that can really show you the ropes, there's nobody better than Aaron Donald to be able to model the way. And his consistency, the way that he goes about it, I've been so fortunate and blessed to be able to coach a player like him, and really a lot of our veteran leaders that have poured into these guys. And I think they deserve a ton of credit, but also, those leaders for being able to help accelerate their progress, because I think seeing is more powerful than anything that we can say. And the way that they've poured into these guys is really starting to show itself, and it's got to continue to be a theme if we want to go where we're hoping to go.
Sean's a former quarterback. Matthew's throw to Puka, threading the needle there, and then his look away on that big third down. What can you say about his performance?
He's awesome. I mean, Matthew is a baller. He plays his best at the most important moments, and I think you've seen that over the last few weeks. It was great to be able to see him make crunch time play after crunch time play and be able to sustain scoring drives. And there was a lot of things that he was doing, whether it was getting us in and out of the right play. Like the one long touchdown that he makes to Puka, that's a check that he ended up making up where I'm saying, shoot, what the heck am I supposed to do? You're playing quarterback and you're doing our job. But it just goes to show you what a special player he is, to be able to say, hey, if we get a certain look and I recognize it, how would this be to try to attack, the back end of the coverage contour and what protection? And, I'm sitting there saying, shit, that's a pretty good idea. I should have thought of that earlier in the week. And he made it come to life. And then Puka being able to finish for a 70-yard touchdown was big early in the game. But Matthew's a baller. He had another great game, and he's going to continue to play really well for us.
Sean, how did you
Last one, guys.
how did you prep for Flacco? I mean, he hasn't been there. He's more of a pocket guy. They were moving the pocket.
Yeah, they did. I thought they did a really good job. We tried to be able to, analyze some of the different things that, that Kevin and Coach Callahan and those guys and Coach Van Pelt have done. You knew that they were going to be committed to running the ball. They've mixed up personnel groupings well, but, it was more about being able to play rules ball. And, they've always been a good team to be able to move the spot, whether it's Deshaun playing, whether it's, DTR or even PJ Walker. Kevin's always done a great job of being able to marry the run and the pass, and I thought they did that today. Okay? Thanks, guys.
feels like a one-on-one right now, but
Am we waiting?
are we waiting?
Yeah, need to wait.
Okay.
I think they're.
You know, I'll take the one-on-one if you let me.
Cooper owes me one. I just cut his super short.
You tried. They're still asking questions.
Oh, yeah?
You tried.
No idea what I look like or whatever. It's probably bad. You guys are good. Is Cooper happy that I sped that up for him?
They told us to stay longer, actually.
Yeah, right? He's long-winded.
Matt, can you just give us your overall thoughts on this game, on it being kind of close early, but you guys really being able to walk away with a commanding win, pulling away late?
Yeah, it was tough. That's a tough team. You know, they play really good defense. You know, I thought Joe played really well on the offensive side of the ball for them as well. They ran it good. I mean, that's a complete football team. Obviously, you know, having a solid season. So great to get a win. You know, against a team like that. It was a total team win again, right? Offense did some nice things, put up some points. Defense got a turnover. You know, really two there at the end with the safety there. So it was you know, a total team effort, and great to come out with a win.
As
Sean
someone who's
said
gutted
you.
through,
Sean said you checked into that 70-yard touchdown pass to Buka. What did you see, and what'd you feel on that throw?
Can't give away my secrets, no. But that was something actually, you know, that we had talked about. Sean and I had talked about. You know, I kind of wanted to try to get to something like that. If I could feel that one coming, and was able to bounce out back into the shotgun. Obviously, Puka did a great job of kind of laid hands in that thing, not letting the linebacker know the ball was coming, and then finishing off with a touchdown was huge. Big momentum play, obviously. You know, a team like that that's holding teams to 100 and whatever it is, 15, 20 yards passing. Anytime you can get 70 on one play is a huge one. So it was great to get that one done.
you've obviously gutted through some tough injuries yourself in a game. So what was it like when you watched Puka deal with what he did and then come back in the game?
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. You know, it's never know what's truly going on. I'm sure our guys took him back in here, took great care of him, figured out what was going on, and helped him, you know, get back out there. He's a tough kid. You know, obviously had a great run. They got called back on a tough one there, but really impacted the game in a bunch of ways. And you know, I thought all our guys on the outside really competed well, which was great.
What's the process been like with DeMarcus, getting him involved? And I mean, he had a big day today.
Yeah, he's been doing a great job in practice. I mean, we rotate those guys as much as we possibly can at all spots just to kind of get everybody, you know, reps and time. But he's a pro. He's played in this league for a while. He's made big plays in big moments. So total trust in him, and thought he had a nice job.
Sean said that he thought the turning point of the game was the John Johnson, the third interception,
Yep.
which obviously you orchestrated the touchdown drive after. How much did that spark really both sides?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, that's complimentary football, right? We get a big turnover, a pick by John, by JJ, and a great return too. You know, not just going down right there, set us up with a short field, and able to punch that one in, which is huge. I mean, that's a huge point swing for us. We were able to do that, and you know, that's how you kind of run away with stuff at the end. Otherwise, it can be, you know, a little closer than you want. So just proud of him. Proud of our guys for finishing it the way they did.
Since the bye, you guys collectively have played very well. You've had some very good games. Does it feel like you guys are rolling into a playoff team?
Yeah, I mean, you got to prove it every week. You know, I think that's what we're doing. You know, we're coming out every single week in practice, proving it. You know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Every time we step on the grass, we got an opportunity to go get better, and that's all we're trying to do. Each team is a new opponent, a different matchup. How are we going to scheme to win this game? There's no question about that. But you know, really, it's all about us going out there and executing and doing our job. And I thought our guys did a great job of it today.
Matthew, back in the days of training camp, you guys had some brutal days, sometimes revisiting foundation points in a lot of different ways. From then to now, how has this team showed up in terms of its toughness?
Yeah, I mean, I think you learn a lot about a team when you go through some adversity. We obviously did that, you know, early on in this season, personnel-wise, outcome-wise, whatever it was. You know, our guys have done a great job of just continuing to work, and that's this kind of stuff that pays off in the end. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not rocket science. It's go out there, continue to work, trust each other, trust in yourself, and go out there and play. And we've been able to do that, and it's, you know, it showed up the last 3 Sundays.
What does a game like this do for you guys as a team when the offense and the defense are able to pick each other up at times when the others?
Yeah, I mean, that's NFL football. That's how you win football games. They're never going to be perfect. There's going to be, ups and downs, ebbs and flows, and being able to weather those storms, continue to trust each other, have total confidence in both sides of the ball and really the kicking game as well to go out there and execute when we need to. And we were able to do that, which was great.
You faced this defense about the way the offensive line was able to protect you today.
Thank you. I was going to say something if nobody asked me. I mean, my guys were balling today, so I was so fired up. I mean, that's a hell of a rush. They were bringing pressures. They were rushing forward. They were doing all sorts of stuff to us, and our guys to step up there and protect the way they did today was amazing. And then be able to really lean on them in the fourth quarter, too, and run the rock when we needed to. A couple times Kyron got downhill, and we were able to, ice the game that way. So, so proud of those guys. It shows up the way they work, the way they go about their business every single day. I thought we had a great plan, but we threw the rock. We weren't sitting there, just protecting those guys up front. We were just saying, let's go play our game and have a lot of confidence in those guys and proud of the way they played.
You guys have a lot of
You
guys have a lot of young players on defense. Can you just speak to the growth and maturation that you see going against them in practice?
Yeah, I think it's a great mix. There's a bunch of young guys and there's some guys in veteran guys in all kind of three levels of the defense to kind of bring guys along, which is awesome. And it goes back to just showing up to work and ready to go, right? Find a way to get better every single day. Those guys are doing that. It's really awesome to watch them do it. And, it hasn't been some early success in some games, the last couple games, but man, have they nailed it down and found a way to, make adjustments, continue to play hard, continue to trust themselves, trust one another. And, it's been great.
Yeah, Matt, speaking on the complimentary football that you mentioned, and of course now the past 3 games, all wins, looking at your offensive line, going back to the previous question, looking to your left and to your right, how does that, the confidence factor now helping you out knowing that you have a little bit more time?
It's been good. I think, we rushed for 200 and something last week. We're able to protect against a great offensive or a defensive line this week. Also ran the ball well too. So it starts up front on both sides of the ball. And I think, both sides of the line of scrimmage for us are doing a hell of a job, and it's fun to be a part of a team that's, got some guys that, ready to go out there, play physical, play fast, play hard, and they're doing that.
And last question about Steve Avila, filling that left guard position. Can you give us a little bit about how
he's done a nice job. It's tough to come in and play offensive line as a young guy. I think, having Coleman next to him is great, and Alaric as well. So all 3 of those guys, really all 5 of those guys up front are playing at a high level. Steve's doing a really nice job for a young guy. Thanks.